Hello there, it's midday, good afternoon, and welcome to Newsbeat here on Metro TV. My name is Desmond Okrekudan. So coming up this afternoon. As MPs on the majority side demand the head of one of their own, Sarah Adjoa-Safo, their colleagues on the minority urge caution. But what would be the fate of the embattled MP? We'll bring you the details as to what exactly is likely to happen on the floor of the House today. Also coming up, residents of Mamobi protest the international front. The army in Mali says 15 soldiers and 3 civilians have been killed in a coordinated attack in the southwest of the country where a jihadist insurgency is raging. We are live on DSTV channel 277 and also across all our social media platforms on Facebook at Metro TV Ghana and Twitter at Metro TV GH. Let's get into the details this afternoon. And starting from Parliament, a member of Parliament Privileges Committee, ABA Fuseni, has told Metro News that his side of the House will resist any attempts by the majority to push for the embattled Dome Kwabenya seat currently occupied by Sarah Adjoa-Safo to be declared vacant. According to him, the report does not make any such recommendations because the rules of natural justice requires that she be given an opportunity to explain her absenteeism from Parliament.
Honorable, can you confirm whether the report will be laid before the House for consideration today?
Yeah, I think the report was laid, I think, sometime yesterday. And it's listed on the other paper. So I want to believe it might or not be taken, depending on Mr. Speaker's discretion. So we wait to see when, because it's been listed, there's a possibility it could be taken.
From where you sit, what is your expectation at the end of the day once this particular issue is tabled for consideration by the House?
I expect a very, very vigorous debate on the floor on this matter because there's clear-cut disagreement from both sides regarding the content of the report on the 3 honorable members who were brought before the House, and especially to be more.
Okay, so bring all the details from Parliament, but let's get some expert thoughts on this as we're joined on phone by Sami Obing, who is the Executive Director for the Parliamentary Network Africa. Hello, Mr. Obing, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us here on Newsbeat.
Good afternoon, the pleasure is mine.
Great. We have seen both sides of the House split on the fate of Sarah Adjoa-Safo. What kind of debate are you expecting on the floor this afternoon?
Well, I am expecting that members of Parliament and the institution of Parliament in general will recognize that they are at a crossroad. A decision they take, the debates they have on this particular subject matter, will determine whether they set a bad precedent that will come back to bite and harm them so far as attendance and so far as impunity to parliamentary committees is concerned, or they will set a good precedent that would eventually help them address some of the challenges that they have had, i.e. members' attendance to Parliament, members taking seriously the works of committee and what have you. So that's the kind of expectation that I have, and I think that the ball is really in their court to show the way and to show that they are really serious about cracking the whips, even if it means that, it is one of them.
In all of this, do you think that Parliament has really dealt with this particular matter?
Well, I think so. I mean, to be fair, the issue came up. Previous years, we've had members of Parliament miss out on parliamentary sittings. It has been spoken about. Civil society has done research upon research, presented findings to Parliament. Nobody was referred to the Privileges Committee. This time around, at least the first step is referral to Privileges Committee. The Privileges Committee referral was done. Then, of course, members of Parliament who fell victims to this needed to be invited to the committee. I think that the committee did their very best. To the extent that members of parliament were given the opportunity to appear even virtually, the member of parliament for Dom Kwabinya giving the opportunity to appear virtually meant that the committee and the institution of parliament went out of their way, out of the regular processes, to provide an opportunity so that there is, natural justice. People are heard before, they are proven guilty or innocent. In the end, I think that the icing on the cake is the kind of decision that they get to take as a result of the committee report, because that will determine whether all of the effort they have put in comes to naught, or they will really present themselves as an institution that needs to be taken seriously.
I just want you to hold on and let's get back to Parliament and listen to ABA Hussaini, and then we'll get back to you.
From both sides regarding the content of the report, on the three honorable members who were brought before the House, and especially to be more contentious on the status of Honorable Adjoasafu. And I can tell you that one, there will be very sharp disagreement.
Why so?
Because I think that the majority is trying to play fast. And it flies in the face of fundamental basic law of humanity. How do you condemn somebody without giving the person a hearing?
But she was given every possible avenue.
You can say anything that you like. She has not been given a hearing. She has not appeared. You haven't heard from her. You are saying she's guilty. How did you determine that she's guilty when you have not heard from her? Somebody who has not spoken. You pronounce somebody guilty before the person has spoken. It doesn't make sense. And they have been preaching all the altar pattern that don't condemn somebody without giving the person a hearing. And they are doing that. In fact, there was incontrovertible evidence before the committee that when we even asked the clerk to the committee whether he could determine that Adjoasafu had been reached, he told us that he cannot say that for the certain, and that he only got the PA. The PA said he had sent it, but the PA could not confirm that she was reached. So there was no evidence before the committee that she actually had service, that she was served and the service had reached her. There's no evidence. So how do you go on to condemn somebody that you have not given a hearing? And so we were recommending that, look, since we haven't heard from Honorable Adjoasafu, let's recommend to the plenary that she has not made herself available. Not an account of whether she has been served or not, but she has simply not made herself available. The plenary should look at it and see if it is possible to extend the time. And I say this mindful of the fact that the same Adjoasafu, you remember in the run-up to the E-levy vote, the government went to the United States and they were able to find where she was living. They chartered an aircraft and brought her to Ghana to come and vote. Why is the same government which chartered aircraft to go and bring Adjoasafu not interested in going to look for her where she is and bring an aircraft and bring her to come and testify before the committee? So you see that clearly here they want to hang her. That is why it is not part of that attempt the government will make to endeavor to bring her to Ghana. So that is the point that we are making. And so I can tell you without any out of that, it is going to be a serious fight on the floor today. And if it does come out, some of us will not mince words about this clearly mischievous attempt to do what they are doing.
How about the other two MPs?
I think our side of the committee indicated that when they told us the story of their health, it was convincing. Honestly, Honorable Kennedy Japon's story about why he could not come and tended in documents about his medical records and those things. We were largely satisfied with the reasons that were given, except the only proviso was that he had indicated that the doctor had given him permission to stay away for a number of days. So we just asked that you should just furnish the committee with a copy of that doctor's permission, which unfortunately has not come. So that was what we flagged, that subject to our passing a verdict on him on that score. And this letter was just what we needed. Unfortunately, that letter didn't come, and that's what stopped us. And we did not participate. We abstained in respect of he and Kote. Kote's case was that he had gone for two medical attention. The first one was in 2020. So when he went for this one, he indicated that he also got permission of Parliament. Parliament actually sponsored it. Parliament actually gave him permission. So we said he should furnish us a copy of Parliament's letter authorizing him to go for that review. That one too he didn't bring. And that was why we also held confirmation of his part on that matter. Save for that, we thought that they had adduced very credible reasons why they didn't say, except that this documentation was lacking. So I think that is where we are.
So that was ABF Husseini, who is a member of Parliament Privileges Committee, speaking on the three MPs there. Now, let's get back onto the phone and speak to Mr. Sami Obenga. Thank you for holding on. Now, what do you make of Adjo Safo's posture all this while, that she's been given the opportunity to come before the committee to explain why she's been absent, but that hasn't been possible?
Well, it's unfortunate that she wasn't able to take advantage of the opportunities offered by the committee. We had been advocating all the while that we think that in the face of natural justice, just like all the other MPs, she takes the opportunity, even with the privileges that were given to her, to be able to join virtually and all of that, to explain herself. These things that she's explaining to us about the state of her children and all of that. Interesting as the issue is, we will definitely have empathy for her and all of that. Okay. But the forum on which she chooses are not the fora for which you can explain these things out. If you speak about it on television or on your social media platforms, nobody really. The Parliament of Ghana is a house of records. They do not take into consideration those ones. So the opportunity that was given to her, I think it's a missed opportunity. She did not take advantage of it, and perhaps this should serve as a very good example of how the institution must show that it's able to crack the whip, even if it's its own act that is God.
Isn't it interesting what it appears now that the majority are calling for her to be, pushed away, and the minority rather are saying that she should be given an opportunity to explain her absence?
I think that any member of parliament who still thinks that opportunity has not been given enough for explanation is one that, in my opinion, is not ready to protect the sanctity of the institution of parliament, is one that is not ready to preserve the dignity of the institution. Because I keep saying that if they allow this to go unattended, members of parliament who now get hauled to the privileges committee or any other committee for that matter can decide that they want to take what I have decided to term as the Adjo Safo approach. We will not come. We will not mind you. Do what you want to do. And if it's a precedent that gets set in parliament, it will be a very dangerous one that the institution will not be able to come out of anytime soon.
So it's your expectation that the seat will be declared vacant?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
I'm asking that, is it your expectation that the Dome Kwabena seat will be declared vacant?
Well, I think that's for a member of parliament who has reneged on her representative role for her people for close to, in fact, for 1 full year, 3 continuous meetings of parliament. I really think that she has got no business staying in parliament.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Sami Obenga, and he's Executive Director of the Parliamentary Network Africa, speaking to us there about the Adjo Safo absence in Parliament. Now, the Minority Caucus in Parliament is calling for a bipartisan investigation into an alleged inflation of the cost of a twin-tower office complex for the bulk oil transportation company. The construction of the office complex, which started in 2015 under former CEO Ewadako at the cost of $39 million, is said to have been inflated to a whopping $78 million without due recourse to PPA approval.
Embarrassing bust moving peanut scandal, the embarrassing scandal at all, amongst others. This government will learn some lessons and put a stop to the corruption that has characterized this administration. To our surprise, the plethora of corruption and scandals has not stopped. And as we speak, we are faced again with another scandal of monumental proportion. You would recall that the bulk oil and storage company under Mr. Kwame Ewadako commenced the process of constructing a twin-tower, state-of-the-art, multi-complex story building in 2015. Indeed, all the preparations had been concluded and the contractor, Rolida, was about commencing. However, following the 2016 elections, the new administration constituted by the Akufo-Addo government labeled a plethora of allegations against Mr. Awuah and his team. This culminated in Iyoko inviting Mr. Awuah Darko and members of his team, subjected them to very thorough investigations. After so many months of investigations by Iyoko, the report, which we have a copy here and we'll share with you, not only exonerated them, the report confirmed that indeed that project met all the ingredients of value for money and that the project was indeed viable and ought to continue. One would have thought that having concluded that, BOST would continue with that project based on the initial amount of $39 million. Let me put on record that the Twin Tower originally was scheduled to cost $39 million. However, documents that we have intercepted, and ladies and gentlemen, we have labeled all the documents in order to ensure that we provide you with the evidence. This is documents, 102 different documents, 102 documents, and we've labeled them. So for instance, this Exhibit B. So when you receive them, you will see Exhibit A, Exhibit B, in order to make it easier for you to peruse. That contract was said to have increased to $49 million. From $39 million, it increased to $49 million. That is not enough. Having increased to 49, the board of BOST decided that they will procure only one single unit. They wrote to the Minister of Finance and had a response from the Deputy Minister, John Kuma, granting them approval to procure that single unit at $24 million. If you look at the old amount, it should have been 19.5.
Now, away from that to some other stories, and the Ghana Police Service, the institution which has been ranked the #1 corrupt institution in Ghana by 2 different surveys, has hit back, refuting the outcomes and raising several concerns. Let's turn to the world for details on this. So you see that on your screen, and police response to corruption survey, and says that there is also the real risk that your research may have been affected by a historically pervasive stereotyping of the police service. The service has almost now become the default institution of choice for such research and has therefore encouraged a deep-seated public stereotype over the years. It continues that this stereotype may easily influence respondent choices, and it is therefore fair to expect that you factor it in assessing the validity of your findings. That's from the Ghana Police Service, and added that from the foregoing, it is our considered view that the research and its findings are heavily challenged and corrupted from both the academic and practice point of view. We want to place on record that we are passionate about this because the continuous empirically and scientifically unsubstantiated labeling of the police service as the most corrupt institution in the country only goes to feed this perception and damage the reputation of the service, as well as weaken the morale of its personnel. Now, as we have all now come to accept, perception tends to be more powerful than reality, and therefore we have no choice than to share our position on this matter. And let's stay more on this, and let's speak to security consultant Richard Kumado, who joins us for a conversation. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining. First of all, what do you make of the response or the push-up from the IGP when you assess the statement from the Ghana Police Service?
I think Dan Parry is under pressure. That is understandable. We understand why he came under pressure. We know he's doing everything possible to clean up the Ghana Police Service, but it looks as if his efforts is being thwarted, and I can understand that. I think the energy at which he came in, he will need to pursue in that direction, and he will be fine. My own analysis of the report is that when you consider the report in totality, it means that almost all our state institutions that provide critical services to the general public are corrupt. And one critical one there that made me worried and cried for 3 days was the Bureau, or what we call the National Investigation Bureau. That's the BNI. And when you have a country that the secret service that protects the state is corrupted and is taking money, then this whole idea about when you see something, say something, is something that is not going to work. And I think we need to accept leadership position. And I think we need to look at our institutions again. And I think we need to do more to motivate people to rise above this pettiness of collecting bribe almost every day on our street.
Okay, so the police raises concern that because people get to interact with them on a day-to-day basis, such things are seen much more than other institutions. And just as I read, talking about stereotyping this service, those are some of the issues that they have with the report about the corruption survey. Do you agree with these points that they have raised in there?
Yeah, I understand that the police might continue taking 1 CD, 2 CD, and the sequence might not be the same as a politician who take $1 million and nobody get to see. But then we should also not be defensive. What we need to do is to accept responsibility. If you take your cameras to town, you don't need a soothsayer or a prophet to tell you that you see police people taking 1 CD, 2 CD from drivers here and there. We will need to accept responsibility. But I can understand that the police are the first respondents. And once the police have the pageant of collecting money from people, they are the ones who are likely to receive money from people. And once that is done, I think he's putting the service in a bad image for which Dan Parade is trying so hard to clean up.
I mean, over the years, the police service keeps coming up as number one when it comes to corrupt institutions in the country. You've mentioned that Dan Parade is trying to clean things up. What else should he be doing to be able to make sure that the next time the survey comes out, the Ghana Police Service is not number one? At least they must have probably worked on that.
I think number one is to take leadership position and leadership role. Number two is to look at motivation and the welfare of the officers. Then number three, their orientation should be more about realignment of duty to nationalism, where morality is taken very high, and where this issue about bribery and corruption should be addressed full-handedly. Then we should stop running away from it. And once he's able to throw out leadership there, that people are willing to learn from him, and they are convinced that, yeah, there might be some people in the service that might not be adhering to the standard procedures. I think it will help them in a long way.
Okay, thank you for speaking to us, Richard Kumado. He is a security consultant speaking to us on the police service's response to the service that put them top as the most corrupt institution in the country. Still on security, Deputy National Security Coordinator Kweku Asmenin has described some private security firms as a liability owing to the hasty process involved in recruiting private security operatives. He has asked that private security firms to collaborate with the government to improve on their services.
Surge in crime and violence in society. Indeed, the results of Ghana's recent national population census revealed that the country's population had increased by 6 million, from 24 million in 2010 to 30.2 million in 2021, representing an annual intercenal growth rate of 2.1. Yet, there has not been a commensurate increase in the number of police forces to effectively cater for the community and personal security needs of a growing population. Currently, the police to citizen ratio of Ghana stands at 1 to 1,200, a ratio far below the United Nations minimum ratio of 1 to 500. Evidently, this presents a huge deficit in terms of the policing needs of the state, which obviously cannot be filled by government alone. Again, it presents a golden opportunity for the private sector to fill the gap. This is why Section 38 of the Ghana Police Service Act makes provisions for the Minister of Interior to make regulations for the establishment and operations of any private security organization in the country. How then can the private sector take full advantage of such an enormous opportunity and contribute meaningfully to the security and safety of the state?
You're still watching Newsbeat here on Metro Television. We're taking a break. When we come back, we do some more stories. Welcome back from the break. Now, residents of Mamobi have threatened to embark on a massive demonstration against a planned demolition exercise which is scheduled to take place on Saturday. My colleague Derek Adote has been speaking to some residents about the planned demolition.
Thousands of houses have been earmarked to be demolished here at Mamobi for developmental project. The municipal chief executive, Mohammed Zakor, gave them some 8 days to move out of the place. But residents are complaining that they have not got anywhere to go yet. And so they are asking that government finds them a place before the said demolition, which is to happen on Saturday. And so what we have picked up is that they will be embarking on a massive demonstration to register their displeasure, because most of them have their whole livelihood here. So come along with us as we engage some of them and their advice to government.
I'm a Baba, so it's not easy for me. It's not easy for me now. Look what I am. I'm a disabled. So if you break my job right now, where did I go? And what food did I eat? I don't have anything work to do. I can't do any hard work. I can't do any hard work. So where am I going now? Or I should go and beg before I'll eat? Senior, the thing is paining me. If I sleep, I didn't sleep. Me, if the machine come now, I will stay and the machine should kill me and leave the world.
We are going on a massive day. We've written a petition to the office of the presidency, the municipal, everywhere. We are just taking, and we will do the demonstration. We've given the police a notice so that they allow us to have the demonstration.
So currently, right now, what was your advice to your leaders?
My advice to them that they should take it easy.
Betna 1976. 76 na Betna. Asana JJ Rollins crab yeku. 79 even JJ Rollins crowd no crowd so jenino. 1 2 year free hanum. I'm a father of 11. Metia no wadana miensa 11 children and I'm a wawa. With this kind of toy, excuse me to use this word. Now what the 1 week so will be 2 years free here.
He is asking for a good period of time and then a place to go and live. Yes, so that is his concern.
We'll stay on that story and bring you details in a subsequent bulletins. Now let's talk about the NDC, where the national chairman of the party, Samuel Fosu-Ampofo, has attributed Ghana's success in the fight against COVID to his party's contribution in the health sector. According to him, the NDC is responsible for the construction of healthcare facilities which housed untreated COVID patients. Samuel Fosu-Ampofo was speaking at the party's launch of its administrative history in Accra.
The party, which is celebrating 30 years of democratic governance after military rule, expressed the need in documenting the history and works of its leaders and members in Ghana's political history. Delivering his welcome address, the national chairman of the NDC, Samuel Fosu-Ampofo, described what he called the party's far-sighted leadership in health as the backbone of the country's fight against COVID.
Regional hospital in this country, virtually all of them were constructed and established under the NDC government, successive governments. The recent pandemic that broke, but for the intervention of the NDC in the health sector, the construction of the Rich Hospital, the East Municipal Hospital, the University of Ghana Medical Center, the International Maritime Hospital, the Bank of Ghana Hospital, among several others, it would have been very difficult for Ghana to withstand the challenges that COVID brought us. But because of the far-sight leadership,
Ofusampofu further rejected the narrative of all political parties being the same.
for the next 20 years, the NDC will rule this country from 2024 or from January 2025 until we celebrate our Golden Jubilee in the next 20 years. We believe that our party records is very rich, and our party cannot be compared to any other party. We reject the narration that the NDC and the MPP are the same. We are not the same. We are the party which delivers on promises. We don't build castles in the air.
For the party's General Secretary Johnson Asiedun Ketia, most parts of Ghana's history have been whitewashed to favor a privileged few, hence the need for the party's administrative history.
The motivation for the formation of UGCC was to fight the colonial authorities about their objection to human sacrifice. About 4 or 3 of the so-called Big Six were made up of lawyers who came together to defend criminals who had executed a chief. Now our history has been reconstructed to whitewash these people and make them look like they were the founders of the country Ghana.
The book was finally launched by the party's vice presidential candidate for the 2020 general elections, Jane Nana Opoku Ajiman.
I feel most privileged and humble to be the one to launch this small book of a few pages of 1,000 plus.
For Metro News, Shadrach Odame Ejari, Accra.
Now, today is World Hepatitis Day, and more than 400 million people globally are affected with hepatitis, more than 10 times the number of people living with HIV. However, the World Health Organization is urging countries to take rapid action to create awareness and increase access to testing and treatment services.
Hepatitis, according to the World Health Organization, is an inflammation of the liver that is caused by a variety of infectious viruses and non-infectious agents, leading to the range of health problems, some of which can be fatal. The 5 main virus classification of hepatitis are hepatitis A, B, C, D, and E. But B and C are the most common cause of liver cirrhosis and cancer, as an estimated 354 million people worldwide live with it. In Ghana, about 421 people die out of 117,095 virus hepatitis in various health facilities across the country. 1.5 million new infected cases are recorded every year. Dr. Charles Amponwe is Executive Director for Hepatitis Alliance of Ghana. He attributes these factors to high cost of treatment and stigma.
There are 3 reasons why stigma exists in Ghana. One is because people perceive that hepatitis B is highly infectious. 2 is because people feel that it's deadly. And the third thing is that because people feel that people with hepatitis B has been cased. And there is also another reason, that is, it has to do with lack of testing and then treatments options to explore.
He also believes Ghana is not ready to meet the global target of eliminating hepatitis B by 2030.
We haven't invested much. The transmission of mother to child occurs, and once we are unable to break that transmission pathway, there's no way we'll be able to reduce newborn infection up to 90% per the WHO target. And until that is done, there's no way we'll reach the elimination target.
Although there are factors which causes the growth of hepatitis, the most common among them is the maternal-infant transmission, particularly with hepatitis B.
The main mode of transmission is from a mother to child. Other ways of transmitting it may be horizontal, that is between children. Now, we have realized that those who are chronically, who get exposed, infants who get exposed to the virus during labor, about 90% of them will continue to have chronic hepatitis B.
In Ghana, an effective vaccine and treatment for hepatitis exists, but are duty bearers ready to do what it takes to meet the target of reducing hepatitis incidence and deaths by 2030?
And it's not time for business news, and Winston Taki is here with that. Hello, Winston.
Hello, Desmond. Right, it's time to bring you business right after this. And now to our first business story. Ghana last year launched the National Energy Transition Committee for a National Energy Transition Policy. According to the Center for Energy Policy, the government should prioritize investment in its transition agenda in order to catch up with the rest of the world.
It's a global conversation and a global action that has grown over time. We have had discussions on how we save the climate for the past almost 20 years, but it has evolved into a situation where the economics of the new forms of energy is what is driving the transition. Now you have electrification, where many oil companies are developing new technologies on new forms of energy. At the same time, electric cars are becoming much more potent and efficient. So Ghana government, owes a duty, not to itself, but also to the Ghanaian people, to integrate itself into the new forms of energy that has been discussed, so that, when the world makes that switch, we will not be left behind. We will not be left importing everything renewable, everything electric.
Member of Parliament for Kwadaso, Kingsley Nyako, says it is warped logic not to attribute ongoing hardship to COVID-19 pandemic, the Russia-Ukraine war, and mismanagement of the economy by the previous government. But the communication leader has described government as an incompetent one for blaming the woes of the country on previous administration after 5 years of assuming office.
And last year, in the midst of COVID-19 and the war between Russia and Iran, Randy, we were able to grow by 5.4%. As we speak, within the first quarter of this year, we've done 12.3%. The point I'm making is that President Mahama messed up the economy. Randy, do you know that the worst depreciation of our currency happened in 2014? 40%. 40% under Mahama. That was when our cedi was adjudged as the worst performing currency in the world, 2014. The figures are here. You see, Mahama's performance from 2012 had been so abysmal, a spectacular disaster and failure. And that's what Kubako would say, his performance was an unmitigated disaster.
People cannot afford fuel. They can't even afford 2 square meals a day. Food prices are galloping on a daily basis. There is food crisis in our schools. Even BEC graduates cannot write their WAEC exams because you owe WAEC.
They've released 50 million.
Part payments, they still owe WAEC. You understand? You can't pay contractors. You can't pay fertilizer suppliers. You can't pay seedling suppliers. You can't pay contractors.
Now, away from that, Zimbabwe's central bank launched gold coins as a store of value to tame runaway inflation, which has considerably weakened the local currency.
The central bank governor John Mingudia said the coins were available for sale in local currency, US dollars, and other foreign currencies at a price based on the prevailing international price of gold and the cost of production.
The bank is today released the first batch of 2,000 Mosotunya gold coins to the market. Local agents commenced selling the gold coin on an agency basis at the initial price of $1,823.80 per gold coin.
Soaring inflation in the southern African country has been piling pressure on a population already struggling with shortages and stirring memories of economic chaos years ago under veteran leader Robert Mugabe's near 4-decade rule.
Now let's bring you the latest update from the Forex and commodities market. That's all for business here on Newsbeat. Sports is next after this break. Stick watching.
It's 46 past midday in the Ghanaian capital, Accra. My name is Fayo John Quarter, and it's time for sports. Let's focus on Formula One because after 3 decades of an illustrious career, German driver Sebastian Vettel has decided that he'll be quitting the sports at the end of the season.
My retirement from Formula One by the end of the 2022 season. Probably I should start with a long list of people to thank now. But I feel it is more important to explain the reasons behind my decision. I love this sport. It has been central to my life since I can remember. But as much as there's life on track, there's my life off track too. Being a racing driver has never been my sole identity. I very much believe in identity by who we are and how we treat others, rather than what we do. Who am I? I'm Sebastian, father of 3 children and husband to a wonderful woman. I am curious and easily fascinated by passionate or skilled people. Next to racing, I have grown a family and I love being around them. I have grown other interests outside Formula One. My passion for racing and Formula One comes with lots of time spent away from them and takes a lot of energy. Committing to my passion the way I did and the way I think it is right does no longer go side by side with my wish to be a great father and husband. The energy it takes to become one with the car and the team, to chase perfection, takes focus and commitment. My goals have shifted from winning races and fighting for championships to seeing my children grow, passing on my values, helping them up when they fall. I look forward to race down unknown tracks, and I will be finding new challenges. The marks I left on track will stay until time and rain will wash them away. New ones will be put down. Tomorrow belongs to those shaping today. The next corner is in good hands, as the new generation has already turned in.
An emotional message coming for the four-time world champion Sebastian Vettel quitting at the end of the season. Let's focus on the 2022 Commonwealth Games that starts this evening in Birmingham, the United Kingdom. Ian Reid is the CEO of the Games.
Excitement is definitely building as the countdown to the start of the 22nd Commonwealth Games continues. Birmingham as a city is putting on the final touches before 72 nations compete for gold.
So I'm Ian Reid, I'm the Chief Executive of the Birmingham 2022 Commonwealth Games Organising Committee, and we are now looking forward to what will be the biggest event that the West Midlands in the UK has ever held, the biggest event in the UK since London 2012, and just really looking forward to celebrating over the next few weeks and welcoming the Commonwealth to Birmingham. We had less time actually to prepare for these games than you would normally have. The games were awarded a bit later than normal, so we've had that shorter timeline. We've had the pandemic, that's a lot of challenges in recruiting people and maybe a bit of an impact to our construction programme as well, but it's real credit to everybody working on this project and from the city of Birmingham and the West Midlands region that we're standing here today ready to go on time and on budget.
Give us the numbers that matter for these Commonwealth Games.
Well, we think this could be one of the biggest Commonwealth Games ever, so we have got about 1.5 million tickets to sell. We are hoping to reach a global broadcast audience of around 1.5 billion people. We are going to be welcoming about 72 countries from all across the globe, all continents that are part of the Commonwealth, and we'll have about 6,500 athletes and officials staying across our athlete villages.
By the time we walk out of Alexander Stadium for that closing ceremony, what would make these games a success?
Well, I think firstly we want to really put this city and this region on the global spotlight. So we want people to look, have visited, hopefully experienced Birmingham, but also watched it on television and go, that's somewhere I want to invest, or that's somewhere I want to visit again and again. And of course we want to make sure that local people really feel the value, both having had an incredible celebration during the summer, but also longer term have made sure that these games equate to more jobs, greater skills. These create a real economic benefit for local businesses and communities as well. And then we've got some real sustainability ambitions in there, hopefully changing the behaviours of some of the population around active travel, using electric vehicles, and all of those areas that we're really focusing on.
Ian Reid is the CEO of the Commonwealth Games. Remember, they're starting at 18 hours GMT in Ghana, and 55 other countries under the Commonwealth will be participating in the fiesta starting this evening in Birmingham, the United Kingdom. That's your sports. My name is Phil John Quarty. Yaya is standing by smiling for showbiz.
Thank you, John. Entertainment News is next. My name is Nanaya Tano-Obwache. To our very first story, the world's biggest Afrobeat festival, Afro Nation, is coming back home to Ghana. The festival announced the return through its social media platform following the 2019 launch event in Ghana. In a statement, the festival organizers said the standard and experience will be like the recent one which took place in Portugal. As we Afro Nation Portugal and Afro Nation Puerto Rico, Afro Nation Ghana will train local teams to produce the show and bring business to as many local vendors as possible, being a positive impact to Ghana's culture and tourism. The organizers said in a statement, Afro Nation Ghana takes place 29th and 30th December 2022 at Marine Drive, Blackstar Square, Accra. That's all on Entertainment News. My name is Nanaya Tano-Obwache. This one over to you.
Thank you very much, Nana. Exciting one there. Up next, bring you the latest updates on the international front.
As monkeypox cases surge globally, the World Health Organization is calling on the LGBTQI+ group to limit their sexual partners, as they have been found as the most affected persons currently by the virus. Scores of attackers have been killed in Mali after the country's military pushed back on 3 separate terrorist attacks on towns and military outposts that left at least a dozen dead. 6 soldiers were killed and another 25 were injured after armed assailants attacked an army position in Sokolo, a town in southern central of Mali. North Korea is ready to mobilize its nuclear war deterrent, its leader Kim Jong-un has claimed. The comment comes amid concerns that North Korea could be preparing a 7th nuclear test.
And that's how we end the bulletin this afternoon. Many thanks for joining us. My name is Desmond Okrekudas. We'll be back at 7 p.m. with News 9. By 4 p.m. will be News Flash. Do enjoy the rest of our programs. Have a good afternoon. Bye.